And welcome, fellow gamers. I am back once again. I'm doing another live stream and recording of old video games. This time I'm playing. Sean says, I love your voice. Well, thank you, Sean. That's very generous of you. No homo. Anyway, this time I'm playing Magnavox Odyssey 2. The Magnavox Odyssey 2 was a competing games console to the ColecoVision, the Fairchild Channel F, and the Atari 2600. So late 70s, early 80s, again, like a lot of what I've been playing recently. This game that's playing right now, I'm just kind of letting it run so that there's something happening on the screen while I talk. This game's called UFO. I will be playing 4 games tonight. I will also be playing Showdown in 2100 AD. I will be playing Pickaxe Pete. And I will be playing KC Munchkin. Now, one thing that I've noticed, I've tested these games in advance, and in fact I tested all of my Odyssey 2 games in advance, of which I have, God, how many do I have? I have 4 there, 8, 12, 16, 17, 18. I have 18 Magnavox Odyssey 2 cartridges, and I tested them all. They all work. I didn't even have to clean any of them. I cleaned the first one just in case to make sure it would work while I was testing. And I didn't have to clean the rest of them at all. And they all just kind of worked, and which was nice. And that probably has a lot to do with the cartridge right here. This is from the side. It actually plugs in. This is the bottom of it like that. So here it is vertically. It goes in like that when you plug it into the system. And on the bottom, I'll show it again from the side here. You see the kind of aluminum right there? That's actually a protective covering for the cartridge contact. And I'll peel that back. It's spring-loaded. And there you can maybe see the contacts inside the cartridge. And that snaps right back out to protect the contacts. And that's probably why I didn't have to clean any of the games. Something I noticed immediately about this system while I was testing it out was that the sound that it has compared to the other consoles I've been playing recently is very, very rudimentary. Like the kind of the popping sounds that you're hearing right now in the background. I'll shut up for a second so you can hear it. But those are actually the sound effects that are being generated by the system. Now, one thing I don't know for sure is if my system is completely operating properly, because these seem like very, very basic sound effects. But that could be all that the system is capable of. It was released in, I believe, 1978. It was one of the first of the second generation of video game consoles. So, to me, that makes sense that it would have rudimentary capabilities like sound. Although the video output for it is absolutely stellar. It looks better than the ColecoVision did, and it looks way better than the Atari 2600 did. There's very little noise in the picture. I'm very satisfied with it. There's very little ghosting going on. It's very nice. One of the things I had to do immediately just to get the system working was I got it this morning, and even though I had to go to work, I still wanted to set it up anyway and see if it worked. And so I got everything set up, and I hit the power button, and absolutely nothing happened. There was nothing on the screen. There was not even like a flicker in the screen to indicate that I even turned it on. And so I thought, first I thought, okay, I don't have time to screw with this right now. I've got to go to work. So I went to work, and all day at work I was worried that it was dead. And I got home, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to try a few different things to try and get this thing working. The first thing I tried was cleaning the system and the cartridge I was testing with. That didn't do shit. Then the next thing I tried was connecting it directly to the TV to avoid signal loss, having to go through my VCR and then into my video conversion and streaming system. That didn't do shit. Then the next thing I tried was using a shorter video cable from the system to the VCR. The video cable is actually built in on this system, as it was in the original Atari VCS system, and I think a couple of other systems at the time, which, by the way, built-in cables piss me the hell off. Let's see. Oh, we've got somebody new in the chat that I've never seen before. Rocky Buckler 7 says, Puto. I don't know what that means, but welcome to the stream. Nice to have you. Anyway, so back to the story. So I was just getting jack shit out of the system, and I'm like, it really seems like it's just not getting any power. Because even if I had the VCR on the wrong RF channel, and even if the cartridge contacts and the cartridges were dirty, I should still see something happen when I push the power button. I should see a flicker, at least for a second, something, and I wasn't seeing anything. And so I'm like, okay, well, I have about a bazillion AC adapters. I'm going to go dig through those and see if I can find one that works. Well, it turns out the AC adapter to this system outputs AC, not DC, which immediately reduced my available options to one AC to AC adapter, and that one had the wrong connector on the end to plug into the system. So I was like, well, great, I'm going to have to go on eBay and buy another AC adapter. So I looked, and there was one on there for $24, which, for the record, I paid $25 for the console. So then I decided to search and see, okay, maybe there's equivalent adapters that I can use. So I found a site that says, what do I do if my AC adapter on my Odyssey 2 isn't working? Which is exactly my problem. And they actually said, even though the original AC adapter does output in AC to the system, you can use a DC adapter that is within a certain voltage range, because apparently within the system is a voltage converter hardware. And believe it or not, it said that you could use an NES AC adapter, would plug right into it and work perfectly. And so I tried that, and it worked. But I didn't want to keep using that. I wanted to have that plugged into my NES. So I'm like, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through my AC adapters here and see if I can find one otherwise that will work. And I noticed one of the AC adapters that was being sold as an AC adapter for the Odyssey 2 on eBay was actually a universal AC to DC adapter that they had hard glued to 9 volts. And I'm like, well, shit, I've got tons of 9-volt DC adapters. So I pulled one out of the box, plugged it in, and it worked. So that's what you're seeing right now. I have a working Odyssey 2, and it's wonderful. So now that I've blabbed enough about this, and I've actually not played the game enough, maybe I'm actually going to play some games here. So I'm going to reset UFO here. Every game that you start up seems to start up like this, with this screen. So this may be a built-in screen to the system. The system actually has a membrane keyboard built into it. If I could move the camera and show you, I would, but then I'd have to put it back and get it all realigned, so I'm not going to do that. So, back to what I was saying. So what you usually have to do is you have to push a button on the keyboard to tell the cartridge what you want it to do. And it always fortunately says on the label of the cartridge, you probably can't see it from here, I'm going to lean forward as far as I can, but that's the upper left-hand corner of Showdown in 2100 AD, and you can maybe see that it says, what does that say? Press 1 on there. So it always tells you on the label on the cartridge what you need to press to start the game. So extremely helpful. They were very forward-thinking when they printed these labels. They knew people were going to lose the instructions, which I don't have instructions for any of these. I don't have boxes or anything. I just have cartridges. So thank you, Magnavox, for thinking ahead and accommodating for the irresponsibility of people and the desire of kids to throw everything away. So, as it says in the cartridge, I'm going to press space on the keyboard. And here we are in UFO. And apparently you do not use joystick number 1, you use joystick number 2. So here we go. Okay, now I'm moving around here. You push the button to fire. It fires in the direction of the little white dot that's kind of circling you. It looks like the dot actually moves in the direction that I move. Once you hit something, you actually have to wait for that thing to explode before you can shoot again. Movement is very slow, and you can barely tell what's going on. You can barely tell any change in the sound effects just from what's happening on screen. But it does work. Interesting about these joysticks that I didn't know before I bought the system is that they are analog. In fact, I'll show you the joystick. This is joystick number 2 right here. Also hardwired directly into the system. Pisses me off. But there's the action button. It's got one button like the Atari 2600 does. And this stick right here does respond in some games. So you can see I'll push it a little bit and I'll go kind of slow Does it do that in this game? Yes, it does. Push it a little bit and I go kind of slow. Push it a lot and I go faster. So I kind of like that. And the difference between the joysticks on the Atari 2600 are digital, so there's only up, down, left, and right. In the Atari 5200, they introduced analog joysticks, but they were not self-centering, and that was a huge problem with those controllers. Whereas these are self-centering, they're spring-loaded, I can let go of it, and it pops right back to the middle. So, again, very helpful, very forward-thinking, Magnavox. One thing I'm noticing is that if I'm already going in a particular direction at a particular speed, and for some reason the controller thinks that I didn't push it fast enough to go fast enough, then I seem to keep going in all other directions as long as I hold down the stick. Whereas if I let it go and push it again, then I can start going faster again. I don't know what it's doing there down there at the bottom with that kind of roulette through the question marks. See if I can kill some more of these pluses here. Something else I'm also noticing is that there is a lot more going on screen in this game than there were in the early Atari 2600 games. It makes me think that maybe this system, the hardware is a little more capable. The sound is definitely not more capable, that's for sure. The Atari 2600 had much better sound. But again, like I said before, I'm not sure if that's my system being faulty or if that's just the way it is. And one reason that this system has a built-in keyboard, which is very unusual for video game consoles at the time. Usually keyboards were restricted to computers or computer add-ons for video game consoles, like the Atom expansion module for the ColecoVision. But one reason why this system has one is they build it from the beginning as kind of an educational tool as well as a video game console. And so I think they eventually did release a BASIC cartridge for the system, so you could program it in a version of BASIC. I believe it was a variant of Microsoft BASIC, actually. And I would like to get that cartridge, just to see what I could do with it, if anything. As you may or may not know, I began my programming career in BASIC on an Apple IIe. And if you watch my, my Doom video, where I played Knee Deep in the Dead several months ago, I talked a lot about that. I explained the whole story of how I got into programming and basically my life story up until that point. Now the disadvantage to aiming in the direction that you're going is there's two disadvantages here. Number one, actually I see what it's doing now. Because watch the white dot right there, because that's where I'm going to shoot from. I'll move left and right, back and forth, and as I move left and right, back and forth, it moves the dot clockwise around me. So that's kind of disorienting. I would prefer to fire in the direction that I last pushed. I'm trying the other joystick right now to see if anything happens, if this might actually be a dual joystick game. I don't know if such games existed for these systems, but it doesn't do anything. At first, whenever I was testing this, and all I heard coming out for sound was these popping noises, basically. I thought that maybe I didn't have it hooked up right, because when I've been playing Atari games, and I had that hooked up to, and when I had both audio output channels hooked up, coming from my VCR to my video conversion box, I was only getting sound out of one channel, which meant that the Atari 2600 was only outputting sound out of one channel, which makes sense. It's old. It makes sense that it would have mono sound. So I only had the one audio output channel hooked up to my conversion box, and then I had a splitter cable to go into the conversion box to split that one audio output channel into two, so that then I could record it coming from both speakers. So when I originally hooked this system up for testing, I still had it hooked up that way, and I wasn't hearing anything but just little pops and a little bit of noise out of speakers. So I was like, okay, maybe I have the wrong one hooked up. Maybe the Odyssey 2 actually outputs out of the other channel. So I unplugged it, plugged it back in, and I was getting exactly the same thing out of the other channel. So now I actually have both audio output channels hooked up, because apparently it outputs the same thing out of both channels. But again, I don't know if audio output is working correctly out of the system. And if you know if this is actually working or not, please post something in the chat or leave something in the comments. And if it turns out that you've seen this kind of audio output behavior before and you know how to fix it, then I would very much love to know that. Oh shit. Thing coming on the screen firing big ass lasers at me. Anyway, I think we get it. I think we know what's going on in this game. So that is UFO. Now I'm going to play Showdown in 2100 AD. Power. And this one says to press 1. Pressing 1. And apparently this is a 2-player game. Yep. I'm using both sticks right now. But now I can't fire. Because I can't push the button. Maybe I could play with my toes. No, I don't think I could do that. I don't think that would help, actually. Okay, so I'm controlling the blue gunslinger guy right there, moving around these trees. Yeah, running into the trees, killing the trees, not killing the trees. So the goal is to fire at the other dude. And did you see how the screen flashed when I fired? I don't know if that's... I don't know if the game is intentionally doing that to kind of accentuate the shot that I'm firing, or if that's the game stopping for a second, because you notice there it flashed again when that guy fell over and died. So I wonder if that's like some screen blanking going on as a workaround for some kind of bug in the hardware. Yeah, see? So this is Gunslinger. It's basically like Combat on the Atari 2600. So yeah, I think we get this. The resolution is actually nice compared to early Atari 2600 games. I don't know when these games were developed, though. Some of them have a copyright date on the front. Let's see. UFO was 1981, so that was well into the Atari 2600's lifespan. So by then, the Atari 2600 was producing similarly resolutioned games to that. Showdown in 2100 AD was 1979, so this actually had superior resolution to the Atari 2600 at the time. By the way, I think that's it for Showdown in 2100 AD. I think we get it. Not a whole lot to that game. Now I'm going to play Pickaxe Pete. This is 1982. So this is well into the lifespan of both consoles. And this says to press 0 through 9, so let's do 0. And I guess I'm the dude with the crazy-ass pickaxe there in the middle. So I can move left and right. I can jump and hit my head. I can land on the ladder. I did play this a little bit before, so I know that if I go up when one of those flashing things are on top of it, it'll zap the fuck out of me, so I'm not going to do that. Looks like the pickaxe actually ran out, so now I can't defend myself. See, I can push down and the button to crouch. Ah, shit. I just got killed by Spinning X. Ah, yes. Killed that thing. Yes, killed that thing. Come on, ladder. I want to go up to the top. I don't know why. Pickaxe is running out. And now he's just Pete, I guess. No falling death in this game, that's nice. So I got some good news. Finally heard back from the seller of the Intellivision, and they shipped it today. So hopefully that means that that will be here on Tuesday or Wednesday, maybe. Because it's coming priority mail, so that usually means 2 to 3 days, and it's coming from Tennessee, so that could mean 2 days, but the mail doesn't run on Monday because of Memorial Day. So that means Tuesday likely at the earliest. Pickaxe is running out again. I wish there was a way of getting that pickaxe back. It makes the game feel a little bit like Donkey Kong whenever I've got that pickaxe going. And he is apeshit with that pickaxe. He is not fucking around. He's like, I'm killing the hell out of everything. That's how this works. I'm getting fucked up by the thing. I don't know what that actually is. Killing lots of stuff. I'm in your base killing your dudes. Why did I do that? I walked right into that thing. And I can still kill those things even while climbing the ladder. That's nice. Oh, fuck. Pickaxe ran out just before I ran into that. There's a key up there. There's a key that keeps appearing at the top. I want to get that key. I want to see what that does. Man, I love how these things just blow themselves to hell when you kill them. It's very satisfying. Come on, key. There goes the key flying up to the top, and I can't get through it because that fucking thing's in the way. I just got killed by a thing coming out of it, apparently. This game is actually quite enjoyable. Oh, key. Yes! Got the key. What does the key do? And I went into the thing, and oh my god, what the fuck is happening? Okay, I guess that was the warp to level 2. Okay. Okay, so those things are doors, and I guess they are, when you step into them without a key, then they reflect you because you don't have the key. So, guess I gotta hang around up... fuck! Said I was gonna hang around up there a little bit. Wait for the key to appear again. Hang on. The live stream's a little fucked up, so I can't see how many people are watching. Okay, there we go. Got one person watching. That must be Sean. Thank you, Sean. There's no way to pause this either. Although it might be one of the buttons on the keyboard. But there isn't one that says pause on it. Basically, the keyboard has alphanumeric keys, space, plus, minus, multiplication, division, equals, yes, no, clear, enter, and reset. So it could be one of those last ones, yes, no, clear, enter, or reset. But back in this day and age, having a pause feature on a game was actually kind of a foreign concept. The Atari 5200 controller, I believe, it's the first controller that I know of that had a pause button right on the controller that actually said pause on it. Let me out, let me out, let me out! Damn thing. And there goes the key right behind me, and then I die. So, the person that is Rocky Buckler 7 in the chat, where are you from? I'm always interested to learn where people are watching me from. I don't need to ask Sean, I know where he's from here. He lives quite close to me in the grand scheme of things. Like, you know, compared to the size of the Earth, it's quite close. It looks like the rolling enemy things will come out of one side or the other at the top, or out of one of the other ones, and then they will roll down, but they will go down every single level all the way to the bottom. So I can avoid that one by going down 2 levels, because see, they come around the corner and they go on to the second one instead of following me down. So there's some strategy to this. Oh shit, no, 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 no! I trapped myself. Ah, Mr. Tom Smith is in the chat now. Another frequent viewer of mine. Welcome, Tom. He says one of them isn't Sean or Rocky because one of them is me. Oh, damn, I could have caught that key while it was flying up. Oh, that sucks. See, it's easiest up on this upper level to get the key because that's where it stops, but it also puts you in direct line of all of these enemies. So I'll use my trick again. Oh, shit. That one came after me. It went through the floor. That's bullshit. Oh my god, let me out. See, look at those. Sometimes those ball things, they just go nuts and they're like, oh shit, I caught the key. I caught the key. I didn't even see it. So I move on to level blue here, which looks remarkably like the first level. Level gray or whatever that was. Oh shit! It ran out just in time. This game's hard. So it took me back to level mauve. Ah, stupid ladder. Those ladders seem kind of random. I do not like randomness in my games. Oh shit, well that one randomly followed me from the top. I guess you can't get underneath it. That's some consistency that I'm seeing here. If you get underneath it when it's close to the end of one of the platforms, then it could follow you. Or maybe they're traveling down the ladders, and the ladder is spawning like right when it gets there, but it's not showing the ladder. I don't actually know. Just kind of guessing. I wonder if there are any games for this console that actually have music. If there was some diligent programmer that was able to get actual music out of this system, that would be really cool. I do know that there is a voice synthesis add-on module for this called The Voice, and it plugs into the cartridge slot on the top, and then you plug a game into it that supports The Voice. So it's kind of like the IntelliVoice for the Intellivision. And I was looking for that on eBay, and there's plenty of them on eBay, but something I was noticing is that consistently The Voice was more expensive than the Odyssey 2 itself. So I guess it's slightly more rare than the system. Average going price was about $75, and like I said before, I paid $25 for the system with 2 controllers, AC adapter, switch box, and original box. There was no packing material in it, but I do have the original box for the console, and it's in pretty good shape considering it was probably made in the late 70s. So that made me happy to be able to get that. There's something I'm not doing here. There is a way to get around those things bouncing into your face. I forgot you can duck. And it's not working now because I have the axe. I want to see if I can try and duck one of these things. And wait for this one to come after me here. Okay, that one randomly decided it needed to go to the bottom. Okay, here we go. Here we go, duck. Ah! It worked! It worked on the first one. But you can't duck forever. The second one killed me. Tom says, I guess this is a long weekend for you, Jeremy. It is. One of the few that I get out of the year. Normally I work 5 days a week all the way through. The stream that I'm monitoring on my side, it kind of froze, so I had to refresh there. Tom also says, I'm in Canada. Okay, so we had the long weekend last week. So there was a Canadian holiday last week. What was the holiday? I don't actually know. That's a question for you, Tom. What was the holiday in Canada last week? The only Canadian holiday that I can think of is Boxing Day. And I know that that's December 26th. So definitely not last week. Can I jump over these things? I ducked instead. Now I want to try and jump over one. I was also trying to see if I could crawl. Yes, you can crawl. So the control options in this game are surprisingly varied. Much more than I was expecting. Okay, I'm going to try and jump over this one. And it ducked instead, damn it. Maybe I need to push. What the hell? I pushed left and let go of it. And I jumped. I pushed right and let go of it. And I crawled. So I think it depends where... I think the stick is not actually centered completely properly. It needs to be adjusted in some way. I think that's affecting my controls. But if I hold up and ride on the stick, then I definitely do jump every time. So that's good to know. Stream's trying to fuck up. Sorry about that. People watching on the recording will not notice that because, after all, I am recording separately of streaming, and I will upload that recording later. The recording quality is always better than the streaming quality. So if you're a real stickler for quality, tune back in later for the recording. Oh shit, I jumped over it and then I got the key. Oh shit, you can still die after you get the key. Tom says it was Queen Victoria Day. Huh, I didn't know that was a thing. Makes sense though, because Canada is a commonwealth of the UK, correct? So you're technically still under the monarchy. Although it's my understanding that the monarchy is basically kind of a figurehead. That at least in the UK, the real power is in the Parliament, which is an elected body. I'm actually really liking this game. There's a lot you can do in it. There's a lot going on. I think maybe the easier maneuver is to try and jump over these things. I'm a seasoned platformer, so jumping is much easier to me than crouching. I can even, I think I did it before, I can even jump over these doors too. So if I need to get by them, I can jump over them. Oh, I caught a ladder on the way up that time. One thing I'd like to be able to do is to jump up around the edge of the platforms and like actually jump up onto the platform instead of having to use a ladder. Oh damn, that was close. Anyway, I think that's enough of Pickaxe Pete. That game's actually very fun. Tom says that Canada used to be under the monarchy, but he's not sure if they are anymore. We used to be called the Dominion of Canada. If so, you are right that the Queen is a figurehead here and hasn't had power for a long time. Interesting. I did not know about Dominion of Canada. So now the final game I'm going to play here is KC Munchkin, and holy shit, that is not working. That is really not working. Also, stream's trying to fuck up again. Sorry about that. What seems to fix it is if I refresh on my side. So let's do the trick of pull the cartridge out, put it back in, power again. There we go. Now it works. So I'm supposed to press 0 through 9, so let's press 0. And this is a Pac-Man clone. So, okay, I can do this. But the walls are moving. Some of them, anyway. The center thing that actually dispenses the enemies, that thing rotates. Apparently the colored dots are the ones that flip the enemies so that I can eat them. But I just tried to eat one and it didn't work, so I don't know how that works. I will keep right on munching. Maybe I am munching those because they change color when I hit the dot, and then they like flash for a while after I eat them until they eventually make their way back to the center. So yes, very much like Pac-Man. I'm noticing something about the design of these controllers that's actually very helpful, and it's that, I don't know if you can see that, but around the stick, it's actually got notches into the casing of the controller, and so you can use that to figure out where you need to put the controller to go in a certain direction. Like I know if I push it down right there, it is locked at the bottom, so I should be going straight down, whereas if I move it a click like that, then I know that it's lower left. One more click, and it's going completely right. So that's something else that I've not seen in most controllers, actually any controllers from consoles of this age. I'm actually using that capability now to help guide me through this maze, to know which direction I'm going at any given time. Because as we know, in Pac-Man, you just have to push a direction that you want to go and he'll keep on going that direction, but in this game, you have to keep pushing that direction. Now why is that last pellet running away from me? That's hard. It's going faster too! Damn. And what happens if I push the button? Looks like nothing. So that's something that's different in this game as compared to Pac-Man, is that the pellets move. Adds to the challenge, I guess. Oh, damn. I want to clear one level. I want to see what it does. Just one level, short-term goals. This game, I actually think I get the impression was pretty popular for the Odyssey 2, and I can see why. It's a Pac-Man clone. Everybody loved Pac-Man back in the day. And I get that impression because whenever I was reading about the system and then looking on eBay for games at one point, I remember seeing KC Munchkin coming up a lot. Would not surprise me to find out that this was the best seller for the system. Oh shit. Ah shit! Ah, he got my antenna! Damn. Now there doesn't seem to be a set number of lives in this game, which I guess means there's one. And my score is not resetting either. So that's kind of nice. Get to keep trying it until I get it. No, go down. Use the sides. That is key to winning Pac-Man. Damn it! Ugh! I went to the right, not up. All of the dots reset whenever I die, though. Wait a minute. I thought that it was not resetting when I die. The number in the lower right is resetting, so I guess that's actually my score. The lower left is not resetting. That one's always 45. I don't know what that means. And I don't know what the flashing question marks in the middle mean either. I also don't know what the right pointing arrow means. But none of that seems to be important to playing the game. Oh, this might be it. Of course, that last one hauls ass. Oh shit, no, no! Ah! I went back and I shouldn't have gone back. I was inside of that ghost. I was trying to get out and he kept going the same way I was going. Or whatever those things are. I don't know if they look kind of like octopuses, except with 3 tentacles. Noticeably absent in this game compared to the Atari 2600 port of Pac-Man, no flickering ghosts. One thing I've noticed about systems that are difficult to develop for is that the complexity and quality and overall technical impressiveness of the games get better the later you get into the console's library. And that's simply because over time, programmers learn the tricks better. They learn what they can do with the system that initially, whenever they were first developing for it, they didn't know how to do. Oh shit, oh shit, yes, yes, I won! And then the game reset. Damn. Though it looked like maybe it just changed colors, and it was maybe the same maze. Oh, but as I was saying about developing for difficult consoles, is that so later in the lifetime of the Atari 2600, especially the Atari 2600, I noticed the quality of the games going up considerably. I noticed the resolution going up, the sound capabilities going up, the overall impressiveness of the tech going up. But one thing I've noticed since then is that with each generation of consoles, the distance between the crappy early games and the awesome late games is getting smaller and smaller. Like, the games start out being more and more impressive with each console generation, and then they don't get that much more impressive throughout the life of the console. And I think that's due to one simple fact, and it's that with each generation of consoles, the hardware is getting more complex, and because of that, the software development kits are getting more complex. There are more software layers between the programmer and the hardware, and thus the amount of expandability available to the programmer is less and less. And unfortunately, I think that's just going to have to be the way it is, because the way consoles are nowadays, the bar, and how video games are nowadays, the bar has been raised so high for gameplay and graphics and sound and game length and expandability and downloadable content. The bar has been raised so high for all of those things that you can't make a video game by writing all of the software yourself. You can't write code that's right on the metal anymore, on the metal, so to speak. You have to use these software development kits so that you can get your game out sooner and with less expense and still manage to make it impressive enough that you can turn a profit. And I don't see anything particularly wrong with that. I think that's just a fact of life. That yes, there are programmers that if they wanted to, they could rewrite the entire SDK for these consoles themselves, and they could probably, within 10 to 15 years of fucking with the console, they could get some really, really impressive stuff out of it. But by then, I mean, the lifespan of a console is only about 5 years, and so by the time you've invested all of that time to squeeze every last ounce of performance out of that console that you can, its life is over. The console's already gone, and the next generation has come along. And that's actually one reason why I am glad that I do not program video games for a living. That's not to say that I don't like it, because I am working on my own video game in my spare time for fun, and I do love doing it. But the difficulty for making a video game, especially video games that are visually and auditorily impressive, is much more difficult than doing any other kind of software. Gaming is the number one hardest thing you could possibly do if you are a software developer. And so not only are you doing things that are way harder than any other kind of software, but you have to stay on top of your game like 150% of the time. You have to constantly be learning all the new stuff that is constantly coming out. Otherwise, your games fall behind, and you die. Evolve or die. It's as simple as that. And I think that kind of pressure would be extremely high, which is why I'm glad I'm not a video game developer, and why I'm glad that I make pig farming software of all things. Because it's easy. It's easier. I would probably have more fun making video games, but I also don't want to go bald, and I also want to be able to sleep at night, and I also don't want to have to work 70-hour weeks for like 2 and 3 years at a time to get one game out the door. But again, with the newer software development kits, newer layering systems like Unity, and Unreal Engine, which is now competing with Unity, you can use it for free up until your game has made a certain amount of money. You have these frameworks that have already done a ton of the work for you in advance, and so you can focus on making the game. And that's why it's possible for these indie developers, these one-man developers, to make these incredibly impressive and extremely successful games. Games like Undertale, Axiom Verge, Minecraft. All of these one-man games that have come out and been very successful. And so maybe my perception of success equals difficulty is actually not correct. It is in my case because I'm not using any of those frameworks to develop my video game, because I'm crazy and I want to build a framework myself because I can. I have the capability to do it myself, and so I'm doing it myself. I know I could save a shit ton of time and a shit ton of effort if I just use one of those frameworks like Unity, which is what a friend of mine, Jay, is actually doing. That's what he develops for. He develops for Unity. And maybe eventually I will port my game to using Unity. Maybe, if anything, just for its broad compatibility. But not right now. I enjoy doing it myself right now. And who knows, maybe one of these days, once I actually decide that I've done enough work on the damn engine and the frigging editor, that I will actually release my game, and it might show up on Steam. And if even one person bought it, that would be extremely awesome. Hell, I'd consider it a success just to get my game onto Steam. Just to get it out there. The last video game that I worked on and released was Maze Master 3.0, and that was back in 2005. Halloween 2005, actually, was the day we released it. I worked on that with Jay and two other people I knew at the time by the name of Corey Lemke and Ben Manch. Haven't really talked to either of them since then, but I still talk to Jay pretty regularly, almost on a daily basis. Don't know what the other two guys are doing these days, but Corey, Ben, if you're watching and you want to work on Maze Master 2, send me a message. That's because that's the game I'm working on right now. Anyway, so I think I've blabbed enough for this. I think I've played enough KC Munchkin. And I think this was a good demonstration of the Odyssey 2. It was fun to show off, fun to play. I hope this is something that you maybe haven't seen before, because I really like showing things to people that they haven't seen. Like everybody else right now is just live streaming Doom and Overwatch. That's all anybody's playing right now. Whereas I'm playing a game that was made 32 years ago, 34 years ago, for a system that was made 38 years ago. So yeah, that's what I do for fun. That's how I roll. So that is going to be the end of the recording. Hope you've enjoyed it. And whatever I play next, I have no fucking clue, but it's going to be cool. It's going to be weird. And I hope you're going to like it. So see you then.